Se acostó temprano, mañana hay que estudiar. Pero llamó a la amiga diciendo pa' janguear.
What should be a moment of global celebration in Santa Clara now drawing some rather sharp controversy. Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny has no shows in the U.S., citing fears tied to immigration raids. The Super Bowl would be his only appearance, but an official with Homeland Security said ICE agents will be, quote, everywhere at the Super Bowl. While the Department of Homeland Security assists enhance security during larger events, critics say the heavy federal presence especially now feels very different. For some insight on why Bad Bunny's Super Bowl show will have some political undertones, we're joined by Ediberto Roman, law professor at Florida International University. Good to have you with us, Professor. Good morning.
Good morning. Pleasure to be with you.
So given Bad Bunny's history of speaking out about ICE in Puerto Rico and his Latin identity, what kinds of political or symbolic meaning do you think his Super Bowl performance will carry?
At first blush, one would think this is something that should be a matter of celebration, right? In terms of the community, California being as diverse as it is, and him, Bad Bunny, representing the largest ethnic and racial minority group in this country, Latinos and Latinas, that represent roughly 20% of our population. And something we shouldn't forget, that Bad Bunny, as a Puerto Rican, is a U.S. citizen. So there's the ironies associated with the statements you pointed out about ICE.
Yeah, exactly. And could this be a good opportunity to bring some visibility to immigrant rights and Latinx issues? It's certainly front and center now, and the game is still, what, 5-6 months away?
Yeah, I think it could be, and it should be. But again, this is about efforts to, intimidate certain communities, to silence certain communities, as we saw in the protests in Los Angeles and the rhetoric suggesting there was some sort of insurrection or riots. I think the statement about ICE being everywhere is not only an encroachment in your community, it's an encroachment on the state, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, let's keep that theme going. How much of this event will affect the self-perception of undocumented immigrants and the immigrant communities, especially those who are probably Big Bunny fans, Bad Bunny, rather?
Yeah, I think it just depends on, the performance and what the lead up is and what the reaction and overreaction by the federal government, because we are talking about one of the most popular performers in the world that again happens to be a U.S. citizen. And, until recently, when Trump made his executive orders with respect to English being the only, the primary language for our country, we have been a melting pot and a diverse, welcoming community. So this is, ironic and inconsistent with progress that we've seen throughout the 20th and 21st century.
I want to get your reaction to a quote. Corey Lewandowski, who is an advisor with the Department of Homeland Security, said this: "It's so shameful that they decided to pick someone who seems to hate America so much to represent them at a Super Bowl halftime show." And you brought up a good point. He's an American citizen. Just your reaction to that.
Yeah, it's filled with irony. I mean, if I was Corey Lewandowski, I wouldn't be making too many opinions on anyone's background or history. But Bad Bunny happens to be, one of the world's most popular performers, one that happens to be of my own background. But as, a proud U.S. citizen and constitutional scholar, I'm gleeful to see America, the rest of America, and NFL fans are often fairly conservative, to be exposed to someone who is preaching about inclusion, diversity, and at times, perhaps generationally, a little bit more risque than perhaps I'm used to, or maybe you. But, he is one of the most popular people in the world, and we should celebrate it. Perhaps, maybe some conversations about the nature of what's going on. But, free speech is just that. It's just not when you like what the person's saying, or you agree, or you even understand that person's language. So filled with ironies and unfortunate. At the end of the day, much like Kendrick Lamar's performance last year, it's going to be the most popular, if not the most popular ever performance in the Super Bowl. And that'll speak volumes, notwithstanding people like Corey and other, frankly, people that are intolerant.
Yeah, I was going to say not that they needed it, but this might be the most watched Super Bowl halftime show ever because of all the run up to it. Okay, Professor, thank you so much for your time. We surely appreciate your insight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take